Animism is something we've talked about quite a bit on this podcast. In a lot of ways, that's the problem. We've talked about it. I'd like to think that in some ways we have exemplified it, that we have demonstrated it in some way, because animism isn't really something we can talk about if we want to understand it. Rasmussen over on Nordic Animism released a short the other day that I think encapsulated this problem really beautifully. Instead of paraphrasing him, I want to actually take in what he had to say and really dig into this kind of paradox at the heart of animism, that it's really something you have to do and not necessarily something you have to believe. Let's talk about the nature of animism and why we should just do it as we walk together down creation's paths. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie. I am a Christopagan Druid and priest of Brigid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm a Christopagan Druid and sous chef to the Dagda.
Today, I wanted to dig into this fort that Rune made over on the Nordic Animism channel, because it takes a certain amount of brilliance to say a very complex thing very simply. And I don't want to be the person who shorthands or just paraphrases other people, because giving credit is very important, especially in our community, to give credit for where certain ideas come from. I think Christianity has messed us all up in the way that we think about belief. And this really hits us hard when it comes to animism. Before we get into all that, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology happens to be on whatever the app is you're listening to us on. We do 5 original Christopagan and Druid episodes Monday through Friday, and you don't want to miss a thing. We got a lot of really fun stuff coming up. All right. So I said that I think Christianity has messed us all up. This in particular is one of those places, because Christianity, especially Protestant Christianity, since the Reformation, has put such a strong emphasis on belief that by the time you get down to evangelical Christianity, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you believe properly. So you can be the most hateful, spiteful, monstrous person, but as long as you know how to say the right words, you're okay. Like it has become the thing that it hated most, right? It is Gnosticism, the grossest way you could use that word, right? It's about having this special knowledge and not anything about how you act or how you behave. Because, of course, if your beliefs modified your actions, that would be a works-based faith, which is the devil to them, as we discussed in the last couple of days of it. Animism is one of those things that is intuitive. And I don't mean that everyone naturally is animistic, though I think that when you look at a child, you can see that animistic instinct in a child, where they often will treat what we would consider inanimate objects as if they were animate objects, where they will talk to trees and plants, flowers, animals, and whatnot in the same way they would talk to a person, until that gets socially coerced out of them.
Nice way to put it.
Yeah. But if we're going to reconnect to the spirit of animism, it is really a thing that you have to do. So I've kind of given a preamble here. Let's get into what Rune had to say. We will be interrupting Rune from time to time to dig in deeper with each of the things, because this is a lot that he says in a minute and 18 seconds. Okay, let's dig into this.
Animism is practice. Animism is, in a very literal sense, something that you do more than something that you think about or make intellectual propositions about. It's a bit of a paradox, because exactly that blathering is what I'm mostly doing all the time on this channel. I'm also trying to move out of this talking, thinking space and to feed into doing.
Now, I think we're in this place too. We have a lot of discussions behind the scenes about how we can move from talking about to doing. And it's because I don't want to be a DIY channel, right? I don't want this to be like, here's how to do everything. But I also don't want to be a vlog channel. And animism is really hard to show. A lot of the ideas that we're talking about here are very hard to show, not tell, without really changing everything about what we are doing here.
It's also tricky too, because when you first want to get somebody into it, a lot of times it's easier to go, okay, here's what the thing is, and then do the talking part. Here's what it's about. Here's how to do it. In a lot of this space, many people get lost in the talking about the thing and trying to explain it and forget the actual doing and demonstrating. It's why I like to give examples. Like when people are trying to use a merchant card reader, talking about it like it's a 3-year-old and it's throwing a tantrum and it doesn't want to quite work right, as the technology sometimes gets a little glitchy. And talking about it like that, people kind of laugh. And instead of just getting angry and going stupid technology and smashing it, because you wouldn't just strike a 3-year-old. So they suddenly are like, oh, let me pause. Let me take a deep breath. Okay, a 3-year-old's throwing their tantrum. Let's see, is there something even worth fighting at this point? Because most of us who've had to deal with 3-year-olds throwing their tantrum, most of the time it's probably just not worth it. Just whatever, give them whatever is in the moment that they need. Usually it's a little space, a little time, or hand them that toy or whatever it is that they're upset they don't have in their hands, and they're happy, you're happy that they've stopped, and you move on. It's kind of same thing with the card reader. Like, instead of throwing a tantrum and smashing buttons and yelling at the card reader, it's like they just stop and they go, oh, well, it really wants me to swipe now, so I'll just swipe and be done with it. What about their leg? The toddler has stopped complaining.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we do try to lean on a lot of anecdotes, because I have contemplated whether or not to do like a day in the life of a Christopagan vlog. My issue with that is I feel weird making my faith performative in that way. I'm not condemning anybody who does that. I think a lot of these vlogs are powerful, wonderful things. This is an issue that I have because my reading of the Gospels are very clear that when you pray in secret. You go into your closet, you close the door, you pray in secret. And so, like Jesus taught. So the idea of filming my prayers, the idea of filming my prayers bothers me in a way that I can understand how it doesn't bother other people. Also, I don't want to do a ritual or a spell or do some prayer weaving for the content.
Yeah.
And so I don't see, like I said, I'm not condemning anybody who does that. I think that there is a place for that. I don't feel like it's our place. And so
It
when we're,
also gets, I say it also gets tricky. In addition to those two things, the third thing is that life is what it is. And when you're trying to use these examples as teaching moments, you either have to be patient and wait for life to present these opportunities to show as teaching moments, or you give into the temptation to create an artificial situation to show that example. And that's kind of where it suddenly starts to feel fake in a way, because I want to show an example and it's just, life isn't going down that path at that moment. So, being tempted into faking it.
because when I talk to people and I mention that, something the house spirits did, and I see them give me that look like, oh, there's Charlie being Charlie again. I try to couch that with an invite of like, yeah, you're always losing your keys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just try, but put out just a little something. Just try, because I can't explain to you what is actually going on in my house. Is it just a purely an energy thing? Are there actual little spirits? Is there really a difference between it being an energy thing and a bunch of little spirits? Is it a psychic thing where my brain is causing certain things to happen around the house because I've given it permission to? Like, all of that, like, paranormal questioning that people get into. And I think there's space for that kind of metaphysical debate and dialogue. But in the end, as somebody who's trying to have a very practical, actionable faith and practice, right? It doesn't matter to me in the details of whether or not there are actually spirits in the house, or if it's an energy, or if it's just my brain manifesting things a certain way, right? The actual details there, it's all six of one, half a dozen of the other. It's two, 3 ways of saying the same thing. So I'm not as focused on the nitty gritty of it like that, right? Because my experience of house spirits, well, what do I call them? Are they elves? Are they kobolds? Are they all the different words that I could be using, right? From all the different cultures that I could be using. If you notice, just use the blanket term, the other crowd, because to me, it's all Fae all the way down anyway. So does it really matter, right?
Yeah. Just to give an example to go off of what you were saying there, I love to argue ad absurdum. This isn't quite an extreme of absurdum, but if you were to go off of, say, you fully believe this is just psychology, like you just remembered where this thing was lost and you found the lost thing because psychology. Well, congratulations, we figured out a way to biohack our brains to
Yeah.
force it into remembering. The end result is still those lost keys were suddenly found that you couldn't find all day. That thing that was misplaced and you struggled to find, you found it. Like, even in its most, like, if you were to argue to the most, like, non-woo-woo magic at all, you still biohacked your brain to make it do what you wanted it to do on command. Congratulations.
I think that this is the heart of the problem in trying to get people to understand living an enchanted life in practicing magic is there's this whole, well, I need to believe in it to do it. You kind of don't. And we're going to get into that right now as Rune talks about what this relationship actually looks like.
So in a sense, giving a glass of beer to a troll is actually more important than believing in that troll, which is an abstract thought process. And I'm pretty certain the troll would prefer the beer because the troll is a subject that inhabits a relation of exchange. And that beer is exchange. It does more for the troll than the belief.
And that's the thing. And I'm curious if you want to leave in the first curse word on the podcast or not.
I almost need reminding that technically is a curse word.
Yeah.
It's a biological function.
But what he's talking about here is really important. It is about this exchange because as we're always talking about, magic is relational. The vast majority of magic that you're going to be doing is relational. And the relationship between that troll, as he's using here in the example, or the house spirits that we were talking about before, that relationship between you and your house spirits will change your relationship to your house elves, to your house spirits, to the fae that live in your home, the holda, the whatever you want to call them, right? That experience that you have, if you're leaving stuff out for the brownies or the kobolds or whatever, will by its very nature change your relationship to the place that you are living. And like Brian was just saying, whether or not you're biohacking your brain to help you be more observant and be more knowledgeable about what's going on in your home, or you are actually communing with an intangible spirit, right? That is in your home. It's actually the relationship that matters. The relationship and building that relationship is the heart of all magical practices, all of them. If you're not developing those relationships, your magic will not grow and it will not help you to achieve the aims that you are looking for. And there's so much that goes into that relationship. If you are going to be giving an offering to the house elves or to the brownies or to the kobolds or whatever the term is that you want to use, right? Well, that's a certain part of your house that you're going to keep clean because that's the little altar space, right? It's going to change the way you act in that part of the house because every time you see that offering, you're going to think about your home and everything that lives in your home and all of the things that you want to have in your home. This relationship that you're building up is going to fundamentally change you and how you interact with this space. My relationship with Brigid, as I've told to a lot of people who get very uncomfortable about me using phrases like when I talk to Brigid or Brigid told me, because they're like, oh, you're hearing voices. No, I'm doing meditation techniques that put me into an altered state of consciousness where I am sitting in an imaginary or imaginal sacred grove where I am talking to a thought form of Brigid, whether that's me talking to some level of my deeper self, talking to an energy that is Brigid, or talking to the goddess herself, right? I am having these conversations in this meditative state with Brigid, because that's the image that I am talking to at the time, right? It does not matter whether or not I have faith in her as a goddess. See, that's a very Protestant Christian understanding of what we're doing here. What matters is the relationship that I have with her, because Brigid is the goddess of healing, the goddess of justice, the goddess of poetry. So my relationship with her is one of poetry, trying to keep a certain amount of wellness in myself and everyone around me. My relationship with her is about building and creating and crafting. And so this relationship is what matters. And at the very end of the day, it's that relationship that gives my practice meaning. Now, do I believe that there is a goddess Brigid? Do I believe that she is present in my life? I actually do. And that's because I did not seek Brigid out. And I've written about this over at Wisdom's Cry. If you want to read it, I think it's called My Experience with Brigid. It's in the Brigid. Click on Brigid on Wisdom's Cry and you'll see it in there. If you want to see like the full story of how I met her and started working with her, but she started coming to me in my dreams. Now, was an actual goddess coming to me in my dreams, or was this a part of my own psyche coming to me in my dreams? Does it matter? The dreams led me to a creative project, and I created artwork at a rate that I have never created artwork before. This flash of inspiration, this flash of Awen entered my life, and I started creating at a rate that I have never been able to do before. The relationship had results. The relationship built, and that's the trust. That's that trust that we keep talking about. That's what faith really is trust. It's not mental assent, it's trust. And that's why I have a relationship with her, because through this trusting relationship of me doing the work I have agreed to do, this influx of creativity keeps happening. And so I am living in this creative craft phase of my life. My health, while it has been tricksy in a lot of ways, is actually on an upward trajectory. I've been getting stronger. I've been able to do more. I've been having a lot more good days than bad days, though the contrast between them is a lot more heightened now. You can really tell the difference between them, where before you're all muddied together, right? But it's the relationship that gives this whole thing meaning. It's not an assent of like, oh, I believe. It's not I am convinced or I am sure. It's the proof is there through the practice.
I think that really is the key, is the proof is there in the practice. People wonder, where do you get all your faith from? It's from that proving all things.
Yeah.
From trying it out, from testing it, that conviction in the things not seen. It's also not getting bogged down in some of the nuances, and animism is such a great way to test, see the proof of these things. It's a great step into living that enchanted life, because as he says in the little short there, if you're having that relationship with a troll, the troll does not want the exchange of your belief. The troll was running around before you were on the scene, and will run around after you're gone from the scene. Your belief matters nothing to that troll, but that exchange, the troll, trolls are generally, especially when you're looking at them mythologically speaking, they're about stuff. They love beer, so offer them a beer. They're going to be like, cool, thank you. When you think about the stories of trolls, they were hiding under a bridge and they wanted you to pay a toll.
And this is where
A beer.
this is where you need to be careful with traditions, though.
Yeah.
All the traditional offerings to our health spirits. And while yes, they did love the offerings of tobacco when we would leave tobacco out, or we would do the scattering of tobacco in the yard, the other offerings just didn't feel right. Like they didn't seem to be doing anything. And it wasn't until we had the idea of, we have a ginger tea every night. What if we gave a portion of that ginger tea to them? What if they had ginger tea with us while we were having ginger? And so we started doing a little offering of that ginger tea every night. When we have our ginger tea, they have their ginger tea. And you could feel this lightness enter the room, and our relationship grew and developed from there, and really began to, I think, flower and flourish more from there. Now, if we move, the house spirits there may not care about the ginger tea, right? That may not be something that is a hard and fast rule. I'm not saying you should give ginger tea to your house spirit. But as far as relationship goes, we have a ginger tea every night, and we share in this ritual that we have with them every night. And so that is weaving them into our daily routine. You see what I'm saying? It's like Brian giving coffee to the Dagda, right? Which is a practice I see a lot more common. So the Dagda might be really into coffee, but it's also that intimacy. It's also that intimacy of this is a ritual that you are doing for yourself every day to get your day started. And you're weaving him into that process.
And on a side note, don't go cheap on the creamer. I'm pretty sure Brigid didn't get her affinity for cream, for heavy cream and stuff. I got a feeling she got that from her daddy.
Especially since we
'Cause
don't
it-
know who her mama was.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing that I saw, like, because a lot of this is, a lot of this is about journaling, and it's about going through those process, going through the five powers, right?
Yeah.
That process, those steps. And I when I did the coffee part, that definitely built that relationship more and all, and it was neat. But when I included the creamer in there, when the coffee was more like the coffee I like, it went even further.
Because again, it's showing that intimacy, right? It's that relationship, because it's the relationship that's important. I love how Rune puts this. What does the troll benefit from your belief? It'll benefit from the beer. And I love that, because even if we're just talking about a nature spirit and you're doing a libation offering and literally pouring the beer out, right? You're pouring nutrients and biomass into the soil. So even in a very naturalistic way of looking at things, right? It does still benefit the land for you to be making that offering. It's a really powerful way to look at this. Let's continue on with the end of Rune's video.
Brian, I promise you that if you start being in exchange relation with some spirit in your surroundings that you are not quite sure that you believe in, and if you stay in that exchange relationship over, say, a couple of years, then you will probably either find that the belief has become irrelevant, that you now know that the spirit exists as a matter of fact. Brian.
And he's right. Like, this is really how you test. This is how you find out. Because I can't tell you if you have house spirits. I think it would be very sad to live in a house without house spirits, right? But I can't prove to you that you have house spirits. This is what I think people get wrong when they're putting together, if you will, like the calculus of faith, where it's like, oh, so I have to believe in it first. No.
Yeah.
The first time we did an offering to the house spirits, we were having a lot of problems at our house. Things were breaking down a lot. We were losing things in the house. Things were going missing all over the place. You know, it was a mess. Like when we first moved to this house, it was a chaotic mess. And we had done practices like this in other places we had lived previously. But this house, it was just chaos. Like things were just problematic. And so we decided, well, let's just go get some nice pipe tobacco and we'll put an offering out in the house for them and we'll spread it in the yard in a circle around the house. We'll see what happens. And a whole bunch of fairy rings popped up in our yard. That was like thing number one that we noticed. Like a whole bunch of fairy rings popped up in the yard.
A whole bunch.
And I've lived in this area for the majority of my life. And I have never seen a ring of mushrooms the entire time I've lived here. I've never seen a ring of mushrooms around here. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying this is my family land that we live on. And I have never, from my childhood on up, seen a fairy ring in the wild around here. I've seen them in other places, never around here. So that was like, that's different. And then we noticed,
on top of that, we had a whole bunch of large fairy rings in the yard, not in the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
None of the neighbor yard had massive mushroom rings. It's just our yard.
And friends of ours who were trying to just explain it away. We're like, well, when the tobacco broke down into the yard, it provided just enough nutrients that the mycelium could pop up the mushroom. Okay, sure, fine. But why did we stop losing things? Why did things stop going missing? Right? Why did things stop breaking in the house?
Also, I never put any of the tobacco in the spots where the fairy rings were.
Yeah.
I put them around the plants because also it was going to break down into fertilizer for the plants. Several of them were actually house plants. Put them into.
So we were very half-hearted about this. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's really the point I'm trying to get here. We did not really believe that this would work. It was just let's try, let's see what happens. And we noticed that for us, things got better for a couple of our friends, who were very rude about the idea of us having house spirit. We had one friend that could not walk into our house without his car keys going missing. Like, he wouldn't even sit down sometimes. He would walk into the house, drop something off, have a quick chat, and leave, get to his car, and realize his keys were missing. And then we would find them like under the couch.
Yeah.
And he got to the point where he started bringing offerings to the house for the house spirits for them to leave him alone.
Yeah, because he had lost several Zippo lighters and other things that he was unable to find. The craziest thing was years later, when that couch was getting thrown out, I found all the things that were lost, multiple Zippos, but I had to cut the couch open to get to them. They were inside sealed fabric, inside the couch, like not under a cushion, but inside the fabric part of the couch that was still sealed off. It was nifty and also kind of crazy, because lifting up the couch, you wouldn't have found it because it was inside
Yeah.
The thing.
But you have to try. And
Yep.
I say have to, you don't have to. If your life is going great and you do not want to bring any of these other blessings into your life, more power to you. Could we have some money, please? Because if your life's going that good, right? I'm sure you've got some extra lying around. We're going to do a donation call at the end of the episode and tell you where all our links are. You can also find them in the description wherever you're listening to us. I think all of us could use just a little bit more blessing and a little bit more grace in our lives. And this, to me, is the quickest and easiest way to find it, is to start having these relationships. We've talked about this on the podcast before, and I'm just going to end with this one. My entire relationship with Ganesh started as a joke. We had recently saved up. This was many, many, many years ago. We had recently saved up and bought a new computer because I needed a new computer. And it came with a particularly buggy version of Windows. Anybody remember Vista? And it, by the way, according to the box, was not supposed to have that version of Windows on it. And it was an inexpensive computer. We couldn't really afford to get a better one. And it crashed constantly. It was constantly locking up, crashing. I couldn't really do anything on it. And as a joke, I got online and I found an animated Ganesh wallpaper that had the Ganesh mantra turning around in it. Now, I had some belief in prayer wheels. As I've mentioned in the past, I practiced Tibetan Buddhism for quite some time, and I still have my prayer wheel. I still use my prayer wheel from time to time. I've developed a relationship with the prayer wheel and feel that it is a powerful way to work and to practice. I thought to myself, why not? They have digital prayer wheels. Why not put this mantra on the computer with a picture of Ganesh, because he's the remover of obstacles, with it spinning around, how it can't hurt anything. And who knows, maybe it'll work. And I put that desktop on the computer and it never crashed again. And I had that computer for like 10 years and it never crashed again. Programs never locked up on it again. I was like, okay, I need to find out what Ganesh likes and say thank you. And that's how I started my relationship with Ganesh. It was a joke. It was purely a joke of, I guess, the only thing that's going to fix this computer is divine intervention. Let me literally have the computer pray constantly to a God renowned for removing obstacles so that maybe it'll keep working. Like the computer will work.
Like in the short, you tried it out and you saw. And over time, you realized that the relationship built regardless of the belief. The belief came about later.
And people started randomly giving me Ganesh statues and icons and stuff. This is
especially when we learned rum.
Yeah.
Ganesh really likes a little offering of rum, nice rum.
And I have a relationship with Ganesh. I am not Hindu in any way, shape, or form. I've read the Upanishads. I've read a lot of stuff. I've tried practicing yoga. I do have a relationship with Ganesh because Ganesh saved that computer. And I have found Ganesh really does remove obstacles. And that's because of that relationship that started as a joke. So you don't have to believe. You just have to do it and then monitor the relationship. Ganesh might not work for you. Brigid might not work for you. The Dagda might not work for you. These might not be the relationships you should be in. I'm pretty sure if you start giving to your house spirits, though, that'll do something. Just be careful what you call them. I don't know that there actually are different clans of house spirits. Our house spirits don't mind being called elves and they don't mind being called kobolds, but if you call them anything else, like we've had stuff fly off shelves. Those two terms are fine with our house spirits. The other terms are not. But that's again our experience and our relationship that we've developed with them. That's how animism works. You don't believe and then see. You do and then see what happens. And I really like the way that Rune explained it in this little short, and I wanted to give him credit for it instead of just basically repeating everything that he said with additional information and making it longer. I wanted to give him credit. We are testing out doing reaction videos, and we wanted to give an example of negative and positive reaction videos. That's why we decided to do both of these in the same week so that y'all could hear different ways that we could do it. And I'm curious to know what you all think of this. One, about animism and all that we've talked about. Definitely, you can put that in the comments. But just about this format of taking something and really digging into it and getting to the deeper meaning and bringing it out, whether that's in negative reaction, like we did to Pastor Dollinger, or in positive reaction, like we did with this video of Rune. Do you want us to do this more often? Because I could see this becoming maybe a weekly or monthly kind of thing that we do on the podcast. So let us know in the comments. If you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, or CreationsPaths.com, you can leave a comment right there. If you're listening to us anywhere else, even if they say you can leave a comment, they do not notify us, so we will not know. So leave a comment there anyway, because engagement is magic. And then head over to CreationsPaths.com, click on chat, and you can leave us a message there. We will be able to see it and get back. Also, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. Reviews help out more than you know. It really tells them what they should be putting forward, what they should be advancing, and how high things should show up in the display when they're showing people podcasts. So if you're listening to us over there, please leave a review. It helps us out immensely. Thank you for that as well. While you're over at CreationsPaths.com, if you can help us out financially, we offer monthly and annual memberships. You can also support us on Patreon and Ko-fi. I am CE Dorset on both. You can also support us through the Cash App #. Thank you to everybody who does that. You really mean the world to us. You help us to keep the lights on, keep a roof over our head, and food on our table. We're hoping to get to the point where we can actually hire some more people to help us out and be able to do a lot more. But first, we got to get to the point where we're self-sustaining, and we're not quite there yet. So if you can help us out, that would be wonderful. But if you don't have the money right now, or you don't feel that like we're the kind of people that you want to give your hard-earned treasure to, that's perfectly all right. But if we've ever said anything that's helped you out or that you think would help out others, please share it with them. That helps us out immensely. Thank you so very much. And as we're heading out, I like to say a little prayer. I'm going to do something kind of weird this time. Hey, house elves, house spirits, kobolds, holda, whatever you call yourselves, wherever you happen to be, wherever they're listening to this, maybe help them out a little bit, because I know you're there. You know you're there. We need to make sure that they know that you're there, because that relationship really does bring a lot of good things into all of our lives. Amen.
Amen.